What's up guys, Shane Starnes here with Droid Modder X, and I really wanted to be excited for the iPhone 10. In fact, I got really hyped before the iPhone 10 announcement, and if you follow this channel then you know that we mainly cover Android devices, but I have plenty of Apple products in my home. When referring to the Apple iPhone 10, the overall consensus that I'm hearing from family and friends and many of you is that there's not really a great reason to buy the iPhone X over, say, the iPhone 8 and the iPhone Plus. These are my top reasons why you should not buy the iPhone 10. Let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, so the very first reason that I'm hearing everyone say for the reason why they're not going to be picking up an Apple iPhone 10 is that the price is absurd. This is currently the highest priced flagship phone on the market. The base model, which only comes with 64 gigabytes of storage, is going to set you back $999. That is Bill Gates money. That's Warren Buffett money. For what the phone has to offer, you can get everything that it has and more on other devices for even half the price. If you consider a phone like the OnePlus 5, it runs $500 and it has most of the same top of the line specs. You can pick up an LG G6 right now, brand new, for $400. You're gonna get the same waterproofing, wireless charging, the same bezel-free display, an incredible camera, all for $400 for a brand new device. Now, when you can pick up a phone like that for $400, it really makes you question whether or not you should break out $1,000 for an iPhone 10. The next major complaint that I keep hearing about on the iPhone 10 is the inclusion of a glass back. Those of us who use Android on a daily basis, we're used to this by now. Samsung has incorporated a glass back for years. LG has also caught onto that trend in recent years. Many Android devices have a glass back, but the iPhones have always had that premium metal back. In order to get wireless charging on this phone, you either have to go with a plastic back or a glass back. The glass back does give that more premium feel, but the glass back does increase the chances of shattering two surfaces. So not only shattering the display, but also the glass on the back. And then glass is also susceptible to scratches, so you're more than likely going to have some scratches on the back as well as on the front. Of course, if cracking your glass back is a concern to you, you can pick up AppleCare for $250, and then when you send in your iPhone for repair, you just have to pay the deposit in order to get that fixed. If you do decide to add AppleCare to your $1,000 purchase, you're looking at $1,250. With taxes added to that, you're looking at closer to $1,400 for your iPhone 10. And then if you do happen to break that glass, you would send that in and pay $29 for the display replacement and $99 for any other service charges. The next complaint that I've been hearing about is the removal of Touch ID. Touch ID has been the preferred method for locking down your iPhone for the past several years, and Apple has decided to replace Touch ID with Face ID. Now, they're saying that their Face ID is better than any other facial recognition on the market. They have some special sensors that can even project dots onto your face so that their Face ID does work in the dark, and we'll have to see just how well it really works. Even if it works well, Touch ID was just so much more intuitive. All you had to do was press your home button and you were instantly into your phone. You could do that while taking your phone out of your pocket and have it unlocked and ready to go as soon as the phone was in front of your face. With Face ID, you had to take your phone out of your pocket, wake up the device, swipe up on the device, and look at the display. So you've got 3 steps to get into your phone, which makes it less intuitive. Now, hopefully, they have designed Face ID in such a way that it is super quick. That way you won't really notice a difference. We'll have to wait and see just how well facial ID works, but that's one of the complaints we're hearing is the elimination of Touch ID. With the removal of Touch ID, Apple has also decided to remove the physical home button, and they've not even replaced the physical home button with a software home button. We've seen the removal of the home button on Samsung devices since the Galaxy S8. They did a great job of replacing that with a haptic feedback capable software button. It does the trick, but it can also get out of the way to take advantage of that larger screen. So I really like Samsung's implementation of the home button. I really wish that Apple would have decided to go the same route. And if they get enough pushback, that may be something that they can add in the software, but at release, the iPhone 10 will have no home button, so the only way you'll be able to get back home is through gestures. Everything about iOS on the iPhone 10 revolves around gestures. You're going to have to relearn the way that you use your phone, and it may take, several weeks up to a month to really get used to using your new iPhone 10. If you've been an iPhone user for the past several years, that might be a bit of a turnoff. You don't really have to relearn the user interface on the iPhone 8 or iPhone 8 Plus. So if you want to use the old interface with the physical home button, you may want to consider an iPhone 8 or iPhone 8 Plus instead. During the iPhone 10 event, Apple made a huge deal about their all-new Super Retina display on the iPhone 10. This is a nearly bezel-less display, and it is the most revolutionary display that they have put on any cell phone. It's a 5.8-inch AMOLED display. It has a resolution of 2436 by 1125 with a pixel density of 458 pixels per inch. On the surface, that looks like an incredible display, and this is the #1 feature of the iPhone 10. It's one of the main reasons you would purchase the iPhone 10 is for that new display. And I have to say that just looking at the display and the design of the display, it looks stunning. Whether or not you like the cutout at the top of the screen, you can probably agree that the display actually looks pretty nice. But this display is not as impressive when you get the full story. Apple actually purchased these displays from Samsung, and it looks like they went with the cheaper option. The display for Samsung's Note 8 have a resolution of 2960 by 1440 with a pixel density of 570 pixels per inch, and that's on a larger screen, a 6.3-inch display, so that means there's more room, and yet they still are able to cram in more pixels per inch on their display. Another setback with the iPhone 10 display is the brightness. It's only able to reach a peak brightness of 620 nits. The Note 8, on the other hand, is able to reach a max brightness of over 1200 nits in direct sunlight. So as you can see, it looks like Apple went with the cheaper displays. Now, their phone is more expensive than the Galaxy Note 8. The Galaxy Note 8 is $939 off contract, while the Apple 10 is going to cost you $999. So you would think that they would go all out and buy the best display possible, considering that the display is actually one of the main selling points of the phone. As you know, Apple decided to eliminate the headphone jack on the iPhone 7, and that came with a lot of backlash. And I don't really think that anyone expected Apple to add that feature back, even though there's a lot of outcry that the feature should have been added back. It looks like all indications point to the fact that Apple is going to a totally wireless future. So we may end up with a device that does have wireless charging and doesn't even have a power port. So that may be what we're looking for in the future. I find myself using wired headphones on a regular basis. I really like what LG has done with the headphone jack on their device. They've included a hi-fi quad DAC, so not only are they keeping a feature, but they're making it better, and I kind of like to see that approach from OEMs. So like if there's a feature that everyone loves and everyone wants, don't rip it out of the phone, just make it better. I kind of like that approach, and I would have liked to have seen Apple go that way. The final reason, and maybe a reason that won't really affect your purchase today, is the fact that the iPhone 10 does not support T-Mobile's upcoming 600 megahertz spectrum. Now, T-Mobile spent over $8 billion in purchasing this spectrum because they have really big plans for this spectrum. First of all, it's going to provide better coverage in rural areas. It is a spectrum that can penetrate through buildings better. So if you're a person that has problems with reception inside of your home, or say you go into Walmart and you no longer have reception on your T-Mobile phone, then this 600 megahertz spectrum that's being rolled out later this year will help you with reception on your phone. And then in the coming years, in 2018, this is the spectrum that T-Mobile intends to use for rolling out 5G LTE. It should also be noted that the iPhone 10 is not the only flagship that is missing support for Band 71 LTE. Every other phone on the market is missing support for that spectrum other than the LG V30. So anyways, guys, that about wraps it up for my top reasons you should not purchase the iPhone 10. There are several other options out there that may be better for you. This phone seems to be less about functionality and more about a status symbol. If you're into that kind of thing, maybe still go ahead and pick up the iPhone 10. I'm sure you're going to have a great experience with this device. But if you're not willing to spend an extra $300 on features that we saw in Android 3 years ago, maybe you want to pick out a different phone. Leave your comments below. Will you be spending $1,000 on the iPhone 10? What are the features that make that decision for you, that say I have to have an iPhone 10? If you're not going to be spending $1,000 on the iPhone 10, let us know why below. That about wraps it up for this video. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more coverage like this in the future. You can find more of me at droidmoderx.com. Follow me on Twitter at droidmoderx. Thanks guys for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.